Today, we continue our exploration into various holistic approaches that may be helpful on your healing or personal development journey. Hi, I'm Cece Forrester, astrologer for women releasing old ways of being while embracing their unique path forward. And so I don't forget, go ahead right now and hit subscribe so you can be notified when new videos go live. And now I'm here with licensed acupuncturist, astrologer, and clairvoyant intuitive Janelle Belgrave. Welcome, Janelle.
Hi, nice. Thank you for having me.
So excited to dive into acupuncture and how it could be helpful for us. So I want to start off with just like a very, very basic question. What is acupuncture and how can it, and what are some of its benefits?
Mhm. So, acupuncture is basically taking very fine metal needles, inserting them into the body, and using it to manipulate the body's energy, or chi, as we call it, within the body's meridians or energy pathways that crisscross all over the body and are basically holding us together and helping our systems to function and all of that. Right. So, basically, it is a medicine that is focused on balance.
Mm, great. And can you share with us a little bit of your journey towards becoming an acupuncturist and even just working with it on a personal level?
Let me see. So I would say that astrology brought me to acupuncture because at that point in time, I had just finished my undergraduate degree, and
Mhm,
I was thinking I was going to become a marriage and sex therapist. And I got
mhm.
to the end of my program, and I was like, well, I don't want to listen to anybody anymore, and I don't want to talk. Like I just didn't feel like it was a direct enough mode of healing because at that time I felt
Mhm,
like there's no guarantee that the conversations that you have in session with someone is going to translate into them taking action. So I
right,
wanted something that was more direct and hands-on, and I could actually say, well, they came in this way and they left that way, essentially, you
right.
know. So actually, it was a tarot card reading that I went to, and this little old lady, and I was like, I think I want to do like Reiki or something, and she was like, why don't you try acupuncture? And I was like, okay. So I basically went home and started doing research. And in New York City at the time, there was about 3 schools that were available that were offering a master's in traditional Chinese medicine and herbalism.
Mhm.
And so I started going to the different open houses and sitting in on classes. And so eventually I chose my school. And if that conversation with that reader happened in May of 2007, I was in school by September 2008.
Wow. So it was very in instant resonance with what she shared and your
Yeah,
connection.
and as I started doing my research, I found that there was so much overlap between astrology and acupuncture
Mhm,
that the whole idea of, as above, so below. So in acupuncture, there is this theory that man can achieve true health when he's in harmony with the heavens and the earth. And I was like,
mhm.
well, yeah, like, of course. So I just liked that it felt like a very practical and common sense
Mhm,
almost poetic medicine. And it, to me,
mhm,
mirrored a lot of what I grew up with my parents. I'm the daughter of immigrants from Panama.
mhm,
And my mom was very much someone who would tell me about growing up in Panama and knowing the different herbs and different teas and, different foods that you would eat. And, it sounded like old wives' tales, some of the things that they were saying, like, don't sit on cold surfaces or don't go outside with wet hair. And you're just like,
yeah.
that's not true, right? And we still say that. But in Chinese medicine, that's actually backed up, like
Mhm,
common sense. Like if you expose yourself to the world in a way that's inappropriate, your body is going to have an adverse response to it, right? So
mhm,
how do we bring about balance and harmony in the after effect of that?
mhm. Yeah, that's really wonderful and super interesting. Um, I love that connection with astrology because I think for me that's why I enjoy astrology so much too, is that reconnection to the environment. Like we're not separate, we're connected.
Mhm.
Everything's connected, and it's interesting to hear that that same perspective is also highlighted in traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture.
Mhm.
It's really great.
Yeah, I think it's just a really beautiful and easy, right? You don't have to think that hard. You don't have to
Mhm.
be, a doctor to understand basic ways of how to take care of yourself. Like if it's hot outside and you've been out in the heat and you catch a heat injury to your body. Well, yeah, you exposed yourself to extreme heat. You got to do things to balance that. So it's just very much like basic stuff. The things that you learn as a child, you can definitely see reflected in medicine.
Do you feel like it's helped you to kind of reclaim your relationship with your physical body? It's not so much, okay, to understand our bodies, we need to, you know, connect with the doctor, which it's definitely something we definitely need to do. But also, I think sometimes we take it to the extreme where we don't feel like we know enough. So we take it to someone outside of ourselves. So do you feel like learning acupuncture has helped you, yeah, a sense of reclamation around your own physical body, that you understand it?
I probably think so. Just because it's given me another language to understand my body through. You know, I don't have to know exactly how all the cells are moving or how the blood is pumping or anything like that. Truly, but I can have a understanding of how an organ system works or what it needs to work properly or how it shows up when it's not in balance with the rest of the body. And so it's almost like your body becomes an ecosystem. It's a
Yeah.
natural world onto itself. And if you know how this natural world thrives, and hopefully you do because it's yours, right? You live in it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have an understanding of how that ecosystem works and what works for you specifically, because not everyone's body is the same, you know,
Right.
you can start a dialogue and start kind of a conversation and start to trust your body more and understand it more. And I think that's important for a lot of people because I think in the modern world, we've kind of given up our seniority and our authority over our bodies a lot of times. And we're always looking outside ourselves to dictate how to treat ourselves. I'm just like, well, maybe you should just talk to your body and listen to it and see what it says. And then you guys can kind of decide how to nurture each other.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, people are listening to our conversation. They're getting excited about acupuncture and like want to. So, walk us through, how do you work with clients? Like, who typically shows up to work with you, and how do you, yeah, what does that look like over time working with them?
I think statistically, as usual, women outnumber men when it comes to practice. Like I would say 90% of my clients are women. And, you know, I think it's important. I just like listening to them. I'll just ask them basic questions. Like I'll have like a whole rundown from sleep to hunger to thirst, you know, the whole thing, and just ask them what's showing up, how things are going. And also, I think validating people a lot and what's going on with them. And I think that's a big thing that comes up in my practice is just people don't trust themselves a lot when it comes to their own health. And as soon as you say, no, no, that's right, you're supposed to feel that, or that's validated, like that's cool. And they're like, oh, well, that just kind of lowers the stress automatically. So I think one of the biggest things that, you know, I think traditional Chinese medicine probably does a little bit better than even Western medicine is honoring the fact that emotions have a huge part of our physical and mental and emotional well-being. And you know, emotion, spirit, and body, those things go together, and we can't take them apart and expect things to follow. And it seems like we live in a world that desperately tries to do that, and then people wonder why they feel terrible. It's just like, well, because you are functioning at a third rate than what you should be. Like this is a holistic medicine. Everybody has to be on board. And if one portion starts to falter, everyone else is going to try to, you know, accommodate, but only
Mm-hmm.
to a point, because then we start to see the cracks in the health, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing is just validating people's feelings and being like, it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel all the things that you're feeling because you're in distress, and giving yourself a little bit of slack around that, as opposed to feeling we have to bludgeon our health into good order. It's just like you can't beat yourself into shape and have it work well. You really have to go with a more fluid, kind, nurturing way of healing. At least I try to.
Mhm. And so just a question just popped up, around, we've we've been taking that perspective of like, if you're out of balance, if something is wrong,
Mhm.
maybe acupuncture could be one of those things you use to help nurture your body.
Mhm.
However, what if you're feeling great? Is there a role for acupuncture if there's nothing physically wrong, but is there more, I guess, a preventative space or for maintenance? Yeah, is there a role for acupuncture when you're good, but
Yeah,
still
for
curious?
sure. You know, like I said before, look at your body as an ecosystem or like a garden even. It's just like, even if your garden's doing well, do you not trim it? Do you not water it?
Mm,
Do you not maintain the branches? Like, just because you're feeling great doesn't mean that you don't keep maintaining the greatness itself. And even if it's just a gentle tune-up once a month or every other week, just to say, I'm feeling good, but let's just keep things running smoothly. I think that's good. It's maintenance, right? You work out, even though you might look good, you don't stop working out because you look good, right? You keep it up because you want to maintain a certain level of, look, if that's what you're after. So the same thing with your body, like gentle maintenance, preventative medicine, I think is excellent, because why wait until there's a crisis, right? Because
yeah.
once at the crisis, you know that your garden's already a mess, right? There's leaves clogging up stuff and things aren't flowing where they're supposed to be flowing. But if you keep maintaining it steadily, even if there is a problem, it's not going to be so dramatic and it's not going to be as difficult to address.
Hmm. Yeah. What if you're totally on board with this? You want to give it a try, but you're still afraid of needles. Like, have you coached clients around that aspect of the process?
Yes. And I say this as someone who had a huge phobia of needles, and I still do, because, I have deep veins in my body. So every time I would go to get blood drawn, it was always a dramatic ordeal, and it'd be a whole team of phlebotomists. And it's nothing like that, because the needles are so different from what you're seeing in the doctor's office. So we're not sticking you with what you would see in like the hospital or anything like that. In fact, I have a little sample. This is what we're working with usually, if that. And this is, not as thick, but you can see how flexible it is. It's very, very
Yeah.
thin. And then to even insert it, if you want a demo for that, it's pretty painless, because we're using a tube as well. And you're going to feel the
Hmm.
tube a lot more than you're going to feel the needle.
Yeah.
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 So I would say, don't expect to go in and see like massive needles.
Hmm.
You might see different lengths, because we need
Hmm.
different needles for different things. So I'm not going to put these itty bitty needles in your glute, because it's not going to do anything, right? I'm going to need a
Yeah.
longer needle to get into that muscle, but it really depends on what area of the body that we're working on.
Hmm. And as someone who's tried acupuncture in the past, my first experience with it, I remember feeling super light, super floaty, and at the same time super grounded.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's such a wonderful feeling. I highly recommend, whether there is some imbalance happening in your physical body, or you're feeling good and just want to check it out. I highly recommend it, because um, it's out there for us. So let's use all the tools that are available, to supporting who we are and who we're becoming. Now, Janelle, I know we didn't talk about this, but I'm just wondering if you have any at-home recommendations for, if we're not seeing someone yet, but maybe there's like um, a self practice that we could use on our physical bodies to give us a similar experience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, their acupressure is another form of the medicine. For those of you who are still needle averse or can't get in to be needled, simply pressing on certain acupuncture points can definitely bring about change. I know a very popular one lately has been spleen 6, which is used a lot for menstrual difficulties and things of that nature.
Okay.
Let's see. Yin Tong in the middle of the head is very popular. We see that a lot of people are stroking that lately for calming the mind. Do 20 at the top of the head for lifting the energy up in the body. Kidney 1 on the bottom of the feet for grounding the body and helping people to feel, more settled if they're feeling anxious or in shock. So, if you go online and look for, basic acupressure points, whether on YouTube or wherever, you're going to find things that you can use at home just to be really
Mhm.
helpful. And just massaging them is going to stimulate something. It's going to stimulate the chi, although the needles are a lot more direct and get to the point and do a little bit more work. But you can definitely do that. Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah,
And you know
that
some of
sounds
them, like
great.
you guys know, remember the very popular copper bracelets that used to be for flying?
No.
So there used to be bracelets they used to sell for those who suffered from nausea during flight.
Okay.
And where it lines up is actually an acupuncture point called pericardium 6. So if you put two fingers together at the edge of your wrist, oops, can I do it? I don't know where my camera is. Sorry, guys. At the edge of your wrist, and then in that middle point, where's my camera? There we go. So in between those two tendons on the wrist is the
Mhm.
pericardium 6. And if you just press and massage in there, usually it helps with nausea and discomfort or like chest tightness and things like that. So it's funny, over the years, you'll see a lot of things in media or in popular culture that's actually acupuncture masquerading as something else.
Right. Okay. It underlines that product.
Hmm.
You know, I don't remember the copper bracelets, but I do suffer from motion sickness, especially on water,
Hmm.
but and windy roads, and I do remember a bracelet. It wasn't copper. It was like a sweatband, and it had like a little bulge on the underside of it, and it would press into. And
Hmm.
it did really work. I looked really ridiculous wearing
Yeah.
these like sweatbands, but it worked.
But those
It's the same.
bulges, acupressure is what it's doing to you on that
Yeah,
particular point. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's what it
it's
was.
amazing, amazing.
Hmm.
Um, so thank you so much for opening this holistic modality to us and sharing your knowledge. And if folks want to learn more, where can they find you? How could they get in touch?
Sure, you can find me at soabove.com, which is my website. I'm on Twitter at jsoabove. I recently joined TikTok. I'm under Janelle Belgrave there. I am on Instagram, but I haven't updated in years. So, but if you want to follow me, I am so_above there as well. You can email me at soaboveastro@gmail.com if you ever want to chat or make an appointment. And yeah, I'm here to help. I love to make people feel better and, come on down.
Yes, absolutely. And I will make sure all that information is below in the description box. Um, Thank you so much again, Janelle, and take care. Until next time, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.